We are now just 9 days away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of fans around the world are either feeling very apathetic toward the movie, excited, confused, or just very curious about the movie based on what they have seen and what they have heard about The Rise of Skywalker. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about this movie is that, of course, this film does have a lot going for itself. A lot of fans are very worried about what they have been hearing, and based on also what they have seen in the teasers and the TV spots. And one thing is for certain, just yesterday, I don't know if you guys caught this, but the entire soundtrack of The Rise of Skywalker has been leaked by Disney, and they took it down, and we actually got a glimpse at multiple track lists. And basically, it does line directly up with all of the leaks that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, about the third act specifically, and this is something that is creating fans to go wild. Now, on top of all of this, alright, a lot of fans are very much on edge with how J.J. Abrams is going to end the entire Skywalker saga that started back in 1977. So, I want to actually go over the third act of Episode 9, and one key aspect of the film that actually has been accidentally confirmed by Lucasfilm, and how it is possibly the worst decision by Disney ever in a Star Wars movie, at least in my opinion. I would really like to know if you guys agree or disagree. Now, it's explained that through many of the changes by Disney and Lucasfilm to the second and third acts of the film, many of the adjustments were done by them in order to restructure the entire plot of the film. It's said that one of these major changes was by focusing on the character of Rey at the very end of the film, where it's said that Kathleen Kennedy wanted to do something very special for Rey by giving her the limelight she deserves at the very end of the film. It said that one of the big changes was by dedicating the entire title of the film and making it based on the character of Rey by naming her Rey Skywalker. Rey, at the end of the film, is said to identify as a Skywalker. The end of the film is said to feature a moment in which Rey and her friends, such as Poe, Finn, and Jannah, and more, head over to the world of Tatooine as they look at a binary sunset near the Lars homestead, where Rey begins to call herself Rey Skywalker. And that the entire title of the film and its meaning is explained to be centered on the character of Rey. Not for Luke, not for Anakin, taking on the Skywalker legacy by naming herself Rey Skywalker. Lucasfilm accidentally confirmed the leak at the very ending of the film, also by listing the track list of the official soundtrack, where the last one is listed as A New Home or Finding a New Home. This decision was said to be made by Kathleen Kennedy in order to do something very special for Rey by turning her into a Skywalker, and that this is JJ's way of satisfying the fans by making Rey a Skywalker in the actual movie. Now, since Rey becomes the Chosen One by destroying the Sith, she not only takes Anakin's title as the Chosen One, but also the Skywalker name. Alright, so let's go over this, because this is something that I think a lot of fans are going to have a big issue over, and maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I really do believe that a lot of fans out there, including myself, am going to have an issue with this. Now, this was accidentally confirmed by Disney and Lucasfilm, and the reason as to why it does match directly up with the leaks and the leaked soundtrack is because the last track is titled in or around the lines of Finding a New Home or A New Home. In case you guys did not know, the very ending of this movie, the leak that we have been talking about, is that at the very end of The Rise of Skywalker, they find a new home. And that new home is Tatooine. So Rey, Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, other characters like Jannah find their way over to Tatooine. Rey sees the Lars homestead, she travels over there, and a villager comes out and asks who she is. And that's where she says, Rey Skywalker. So, I want to go over how Rey calls herself a Skywalker and why it is by far the worst decision that Disney and Lucasfilm could have ever made for a Star Wars movie. Now, not only does she take the title of the Chosen One by destroying the Sith once and for all, but she also takes the Skywalker title itself. Now, of course, there's going to be people out there that like this. You can like this. That is fine. You know, that is perfectly fine if you like this idea. But everybody else has their own opinions, and I would really respect for other people to respect those opinions. So if you guys agree or disagree with me, you know, those opinions are welcome below in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys if you are on my side or if you're against me on my point of view on all of this. Is that the entire title, The Rise of Skywalker, has all to do with Rey. not to do with Anakin, not to do with Luke Skywalker, and I kind of feel bad for a lot of casual fans out there, because a lot of casual fans out there either believe that Rey is actually going to have something to do with Luke or Anakin, and that's the meaning of The Rise of Skywalker, is that it has something to do with Luke or Anakin. And meanwhile, it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers that we all know and love. No, it actually has to do with Rey. So that's the thing here that I think is going to bother a lot of people at the very end of The Rise of Skywalker. Now, sure, like I say, there's always going to be a certain amount of people that like this idea. There's always an exception to the rule, right? But I think that the majority is going to dislike this idea of Rey calling herself a Skywalker and how she becomes the new Chosen One, since she destroys the Sith once and for all at the very end of Episode 9. So, the soundtrack, alright, it was actually leaked last night. It was taken down by Disney immediately, and they're still taking it down as we speak on other websites. They made a big oopsie last night, let me just say that, because we had the entire soundtrack from start to finish listed. And yeah, there's some sites that still have it up. You can actually go ahead and find it if you really try hard to find this, but the last track lines directly up with how Rey and her friends travel to Tatooine. What happens on Tatooine? Well, she calls herself Rey Skywalker. That's what happens. So, that's my honest, approach on this. My honest feeling on the ending of Episode 9 is that this is possibly the worst decision that Disney and Lucasfilm could have made for the Skywalker saga. I just can't really wrap my head around why they would make a decision like this. I think that if anything, they could have had perhaps Ben Solo live on and call himself Ben Skywalker, and if they really wanted to, they really could have easily, without a doubt, continued the stories of Ben and Rey in the forms of books. They didn't have to necessarily make movies if they kept it open-ended. They didn't have to do that, but they really wanted to make sure that they could never and absolutely never return to the Skywalker saga. Disney really wanted to cut all, loose ends of the Skywalker saga and really just put it behind themselves and focus on something new. That's exactly why they wanted to kill Ben Solo. No ifs, ands, or buts. They just wanted him dead. So, this entire movie, right, is all about Rey, essentially. The Rise of Skywalker, the actual title in itself. Nothing to do with Luke, nothing to do with Anakin, and nothing really much to do with Ben Solo. Now, sure, we have heard that apparently he crawls out of the pit and he saves Rey, and that, I guess you could look at it as him being the Rise of Skywalker, since he's crawling out of the pit. But I think that's more of a vague thing. When we look at Rey, it's more of a literal thing for the title, right? So, this was all J.J. Abrams' idea to satisfy some of the fans, because a lot of fans out there wanted Rey to become a Skywalker, and it almost is like J.J. is like, well, here you go, this is what you get, and she's a Skywalker now. But she's not related by Luke, or Anakin, or Leia, for that matter. So that's the only problem that I do have with the very ending of The Rise of Skywalker, is that it really just does not sit well with me personally, and if I really have to be honest, this is just me being honest, and I think that's all that really matters. I really can't mask it or, sugarcoat this, but this really is the worst decision by Disney and Lucasfilm. It really is. I don't know what Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams are thinking by calling herself Rey Skywalker, but, take it for what it is. A lot of fans are going to react to this in different ways, but I think the majority are going to dislike the idea of Rey calling herself Skywalker, because the actual title in itself makes the fans believe it has something to do with Luke or Anakin, where meanwhile it has nothing to do with them and just to do with Rey. That's the only problem that I think a lot of fans are really going to have. Like, the majority of the fans are really going to have a problem with that. So, here we are 9 days away. The premiere is happening over in Japan as we speak, and the premiere will also take place on the 16th over in Los Angeles. So anyways, guys, I would like to hear what each and every one of you have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.